The Limers qualified for the 2016 Marble League by finishing in one of the transfer spots back in the Fruit Circuit. They were a well-respected team at the time. They were in the Fruit Circuit for over a decade and were even competing in competitions before that. But that view on the Limers would quickly change. The Limers went 3 consecutive events without moving up in the standings, and eventually fell to last. Even though the team got a bronze in Event 11, the Limers were so much worse than the other competitors that they remained in 16th place after the fact. But to the Limers' credit, they didn't give up. They had a chance at 15th and they took it. Even though it was just 1 place up, Lemon Lime talked about why having their persevering mentality is important. Quote, "We've had some really good years and some really bad years. And for those bad ones, sometimes the best you can do is end on a good note." The Limers entered their first ever qualifiers in 2017 and barely qualified as they placed in 12th. Their start to the year was rather great though. After 2 bottom half finishes, the Limers placed in the top 6 in 5 straight events, including a bronze at the relay race, which propelled the team to 2nd in the standings at the halfway point of the Marble League. The Limers thought that they were ready to compete for the title with the Savage Speeders, that this moment right here was far from their best. Sadly though, this event became their peak. This moment right here is where the downfall begins. After block pushing, the Limers only fell down 1 spot to 3rd. They were still within a gold medal though, just 23 points out. Only 5 events were left in the 2017 Marble League, but those final 5 showed off the true colors of the Limers when they had to work under pressure. There was only 1 event where they placed higher than 11th, and they slowly but surely made their way to 10th in the standings. Just 6 events ago, the team was in 2nd behind the Savage Speeders. Now, the off-season training for the Limers was more of a mental training for the team. They knew they could do well. They're Fruit Circuit legends, but lately, it just seems like their mentality that's blocking them from their past success. The Limers learned that the next Marble League would be a winter edition, and that a few new teams would also be entering the Marble League. One of those teams were the Raspberry Racers. Now, their rivalry was very historical, so much so that it needs a whole video on its own. But for now, it's important to mention the Racers here, as the presence of the Raspberry Racers in general is a big reason for their downfall. In the qualifiers, the Limers actually did very well, which would make their finishing position even more surprising. Despite 3 podiums in 4 events, they surprisingly made the Marble League in the final spot in qualifying. Now their start to the Marble League was one of the worst ever. They were already 16th by the 3rd event, and added on an additional 16th finishing position as an insult to injury. By the time the 5th event had finished, they had only racked up a measly 15 points, which means they averaged just 3 points per event. Even worse, their rivals had nearly tripled their point total. Gulaim mentioned the frustration of the year, saying, quote, "We've tried to stay confident, but this performance is really getting to us." Sadly though, that positivity that many marbles have tried to keep ran out for one marble, Lemon Lime. A very disappointing performance in the snow rally caused the Limers to drop once again to 16th overall. Lemon Lime, while walking to the locker room, pushed right by his coach who tried to speak with him. When the coach was asked about the incident, they said, quote, "Obviously, these are tough times. Lemon Lime is a great marble, and sometimes you gotta give marbles space." Luckily, that positivity came back in the next event. Sublime won the gold medal at the snowboard cross. Definitely a feel-good moment in this not-so-great year. And the rest of the Winter Marble League wasn't as bad as the first half, as they scored 24 more points to end the year in 14th. Jokingly, Sublime said that it was better than last. So that meant that the Limers had to qualify for the 2019 Marble League. They've barely gotten by in qualifying the last 2 times around. And spoiler alert, that would end up coming back to them in 2019. But before we talk about the 2019 qualifying, let's talk about some rumors that were spreading. Those rumors were talks of retirement. The Minty Maniacs, a team that finished in front of the Limers, retired shortly after the Marble League season, and the Limers themselves were among one of a few teams that discussed the path of retirement. And eventually, a decision was decided, and it was announced in this press statement here.
We spent the last 2 months deciding the best path for the Limers. Taking into consideration our rich history and our recent performances, we're proud to say that we will continue to perform in JMR-held events. Marble Sports has been a big deal to this team, even when our performance wasn't best. We'll work hard, study the film, and prepare ourselves for the 2019 Marble League qualifiers.
This would not be the last time retirement was brought up, but most of their responses remained the same as here. They love Marble Sports. Alright, the 2019 qualifiers are now upon us. The Limers actually started extremely well. They earned a silver in block pushing that propelled the team from 12th to 2nd overall. After a mediocre finish in 12th again during Event 3, the Limers sat at 7th. Now the last event was an underwater event, and the Limers don't do too well in those. Out of their 3 appearances in water, they've only placed above 11th once, but they had to do well here. Funny enough, the Limers were actually in the lead at some point. Then it all fell apart.
Left, trying to draft and get their way to the line. This is going to be very close between them. We'll wait for the photo finish. Indigo Stars did win it, and Jungle Jumpers get it by a 10th of a second. The Limers, not a good finish at all.
The Limers were eliminated from the Marble League for the first time in their history. Talks of retirement once again were brought up, but the same reason came back.
We're really passionate about Marble Sports. We will stay.
Then in the showdown, the Limers placed last in half of the 4 events to finish the first edition of Marble League Showdown in last, meaning the Limers would not be qualifying for the 2020 Marble League. Talks of retirement came back again, but management gave the same excuse.
We love competing, and the Limers have done it for a long time. It won't stop here.
The Limers finally got a chance to compete in a major event, Marble 1. But this event proved that they truly don't belong with the big dogs anymore. Talks of retirement came around again. The Limers pushed through.
This isn't the end. Time to learn from this.
The 2020 Showdown was next. The Limers did better than their 12th place standing last year, because they got second to last this time around. Talks of retirement were brought up again. You already know the next part.
The Limers will not be retiring. Despite our recent performances, we're still very passionate about Marble Sports, and until that runs out, we'll still be here.
As of the day I'm writing this video, which is right before the next race of Marble 1, the Limers are currently 16th in the standings. Another awful performance seems to be on the horizon for the team. Will this competition finally be the last straw for the Limers? Or will they continue to deny talks of retirement despite being one of the worst performing teams ever? It seems pretty clear that the Limers may not ever get back to the glory days of the fruit circuit. Their best days are behind them. But that attitude talked about in the beginning of the video about never giving up definitely holds weight till this very day. But as long as they continue to falter, the more they'll just torture their own selves. The more the Limers will continue to fall.